For me, a big part of being an athlete is not only the physical training, but also having the knowledge that I prepared properly. Whatever you live for, just live.
I'm not a morning person.
Dedicated to being passionate about it.
Bodybuilders have become more lazy.
People have always thought I lift fake weights. Iran and the United States.
You take responsibility for that.
Have you ever dealt with anxiety? Like, it seems like you know, this is your kind of meditation. The gym kind of clears everything for you, right? But, one of the biggest questions we get a lot of emails about it, people dealing with a lot of anxiety right now, especially right now. But I mean, I think it's always been the case. You know what I mean? Like, people deal with negative thoughts, anxiety, financial problems, kind of builds up. So that's why some people can't even go to sleep at night, like just the way you do. You know what I mean? Have you ever dealt with anxiety or just for the mind has been like, or even depression in your whole life? Did that happen?
Yeah, I got pretty depressed when I lost my mom. I lost my dad prior to that, but I tried to do the tough guy thing. Mm-hmm. That's life. My dad passed, move on kind of thing. And then I lost my mom, and all the emotions of not dealing with losing my dad and losing my mom crushed me, physically crushed me. And I was in a bad relationship at the time as well. And so it was just all the mixture of these things. And I dropped, complete depression. The only thing, and I think it was because it was such a habit for me, the only thing I was doing outside of feeling sorry for myself and angry and depressed and mad at the world that I lost both parents, and is that I kept training and eating right. And that was just because of out of habit of doing it for 30 years. So it was one of those things. And I also learned at that point, which was late in my life, I didn't really learn about the point of it's about you making yourself happy. You cannot depend on somebody else. And if you're depending on somebody else to make you happy, there's some issues that need to be dealt with. And you got to be able to be alone in a sense and be happy with being alone. Because being alone doesn't mean you're alone. You can be alone with a group of 10 people because you're dealing with stuff. And so it was one of those things that I finally dealt with issues for myself at that time when I lost my mom. And then I pulled myself out of that depression with time. And I really understood this, which I hope everybody out there listens to this. Don't rush it. Don't do this stupid thing that I did with my dad going, hey, that's life. Oh, well, it is what it is. I hate that saying. It is what it is. No, it's my dad. He's a superhero. I should have let it out. I should have talked, or I should have been emotional about it. And then when my mom did it, I'm glad I did it. And I'm also glad that I didn't depend on anybody else to come out of that. For me, I'm glad I didn't. I'm not saying that for anybody else. If you're dealing with depression, talk to somebody, have somebody there for you. But I'm glad I did it with myself because I needed to at that point when I was getting up in age. And then I didn't deal with that aloneness or anything like that. And so that was one of the biggest things that I think with anybody right now going through depression or going through with anything, talk to somebody. Don't do this whole I'm a tough guy kind of thing. I don't need to talk about it.
Well, you part of the industry, Mike, that's actually very kind of like a macho driven industry, right? I mean, you're looking at muscles, right? It creates a tough exterior, right? Even in somebody like you, people don't expect you to be vulnerable. So maybe it's tougher for, people in the fitness industry in general to actually open up about being.
I think it is in front of the curtain, but behind the curtain, I got the most sincere, kind-hearted people you will ever meet. Mm. One of my people that I talk to is like Ed Cohen, the greatest powerlifter in history. Him and I, when we talk, we just talked about us losing our pup. He lost his pup and I lost my dog. And everything stemmed off of that. And it's he's he's the GOAT. So he's the most macho guy there is. And it's like behind the curtain, these guys they got the two levels. We're not this, we're not in the middle. We're either extremists or we're upset down here. And so it's cool to be able to know that we can turn on the switch and be animals, but it's also nice to know that we can come down to the other side and be below that that peaceful warrior mentality of, if they're talking smack, you don't need to do anything because you know you can crush them attitude, I guess. So I think with health and fitness, I think when you're coming up and you're a youngster, that whole ego thing is really played. I'm a guy. I'm strong. I'm tough. I don't cry. I don't do anything. I don't talk about this.